are impacting various professions, and here at the Broadcasting Corporation, manager Agatha Christie has climbed the ladder of success in a male-dominated industry. Her journey has been an inspiring one, and she is here with us today on What's Trending. It's so good to have you here with us, Agatha.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So you're the first female camera operator here at ZNS. Take us back. What inspired your career in broadcasting?
Well, it started off, I'm technically inclined. I don't believe in the four-wall office type secretary, filing paper type work, and so I used to do photography. And then years moved on. I was at Bahamas Ministries, where the late Dr. Miles Monroe brought in this gentleman to teach us how to operate cameras. And so I took advantage of that opportunity, and I was shooting cameras then. I was doing a secretarial job at a real estate company. I said, this isn't working, this isn't working. And I said, let me apply to ZNS. And in applying to ZNS, I got turned down a few times. And like the fourth time, with the MP at the time in my constituency, with his help, I ended up coming to ZNS. And so, in coming here, I thought because I already know how to shoot camera, I had everything down pack, I know what to do, not knowing with the Marios and the Harris and those, they put me to the rope. And I was the only female at the time. I was in production. I started rolling TP first, where they used to feed it with the paper. And then one day I said, let me go to Mr. Wilchcomb. I said, I want to become a part of the E&G. And he said, who? You? You can't come in there. Because it was dominated just with men, no women were in there. And I said, but I could shoot cameras. I said, why don't you give me a try? He turned me down. I didn't go back, and I was like, you know what, I can try again. And because of my consistency, he said, well, okay, we can give you a try. When I went in there, the guys didn't treat me like a lady, because I was in their territory. You want to come in here, we can treat you like a guy. And then back then, the equipment was different from now, where it's more compact and easier to travel with. It was a big tape recorder, the big Sony 150 BVP, a big bag full of cables. The tapes were small, I mean, not small, they were big. Tape was like 20 minutes, so you had to carry a box of tapes to each assignment. So it was a lot. And so they saw that I was consistent, and then they said, well, you can stand on a family island. They sent me to Auckland for a whole week by myself. So I had to lug the equipment, and I proved them again, and I proved them again. And then after a while, I said, you know what, I love doing this. I went to HR, and I said, I need an increase in salary, because I was making $80 a week. And she said, well, the only way you could get an increase in salary if you better yourself. And so I said, okay. And so I took the opportunity, went off to college, studied mass communications with the emphasis in television production, and got a bachelor's degree. And the rest is history. Wow,
that's phenomenal. But what would you say, what progress have women made in the industry, and where do you think there is still work to be done?
Oh, wow. There's so much women now in the industry. They're producers, directors, and I'm speaking locally. I'm not speaking internationally. You have tech. You have, I mean, it's so broad right now. So you have persons who are off studying, and then those are those who I've trained, which I'm so proud of now. They're working in media houses, doing well, doing the same thing. It's still a little tension when you're working with the guys, because they still feel like it's their territory because of the years of it. And many places I freelance, besides working to ZNS, directing shows or editing or shooting, you still have that feel like you're not good enough because you're not up to the level where the men believe you should be.
So what advice would you have for young women who are aspiring to leadership roles in media?
Well, I would like to tell them, don't be intimidated by the role of the man in the field that you want to come in the technical field that you would like to pursue, whether it be media production, mechanic, construction work, anything that's labeled a man's territory. If you feel like you can do the job and you love doing it, pursue it and make it a career.
That sounds good. So how do you see the industry changing with the impact of social media?
Oh, wow. Oh, it has changed. Trust me, it's changed because besides television production, I'm also a photographer. And when you go there to do the work, because, you know, social media mainly is the telephone. And so now you're there with your professional camera trying to shoot, and you have someone come along with their camera and they're doing the same thing. I don't know I don't know where we'll be in the next 5 to 10 years when it comes to the field that I'm in production and photography, because technology is making it simpler, whereas, oh, we don't need you. We don't need you because we have this person over here who in high school who could do the same type of work you do and give us the same quality you want. So I don't even know what to say about that.
Obviously, you still need that balance of skill,
yes,
and experience.
Well, yeah, that's. I think that's where it's at, the craft and skill, because you could be a photographer, but you might not know the craft and how creative you could be in it. So I understand what you're saying there, because most times you have a lot of people who can hold a camera, have the most expensive equipment, but when you look at their work, the end product, you'd be like, they don't have the skill. So the schools nowadays, hopefully they put it in the high school in broadcasting and production, that they will teach them from there how to grasp the technical side of journalism.
Yeah. So what keeps you motivated and inspired in this industry? Because I know you've been here a while.
I love what I do. I love media. I have a slogan in my personal business: media is my business. I love capturing the moment. I love being creative. I just love shooting. I just love shooting, and I love it. I love to edit what I shoot, by the way. But I love production. I love, because it's not the same. Production is new every day. Simple as this show. You don't have the same show that you did last week. This week it challenges your creativity, not just in the shooting and producing and in writing. So that's what I love about production. It's always ongoing. It's something new, a new equipment, a new light, because the equipment we used back over 30 plus years ago is obsolete. The same thing I told someone just yesterday, what I learned in college 30 plus years ago is obsolete. I have to keep doing seminars, training, certification to keep up with the young people who are coming up. So that's what keeps me motivated. It's ongoing. It's always something new in production and something exciting to shoot. Yeah.
So you are also the author of 2 books. What inspired you to write?
Well, the first book is called Created Single, The Misconception of Singleness. When we, well, the first book on the screen is behind the scenes with the late Dr. Miles Monroe, because I was his production manager for 14 years, and I've worked with him in front of the camera and behind the camera, so I decided to say, let me write about him. His personality was always the same. Whatever he portrayed on the pulpit, he portrayed behind the scene. He was always that man of God who teaches principles and how to live. So I said, let me write, because everybody, when he passed, he said, you should write a book. You should write a book because you have a lot of information on him. So I did a compilation of persons who knew him, and I sat with them and I interviewed them, and I made it a book. The second book, Created Single, growing up in the church, there's always pressure to get married. There's like, they always look at the single person as, oh, like something wrong with you. You're married, you have no kid, something wrong with you, which is not so. I'm not saying it's by choice, I choose to be single, but at the same time, I know what I want. And so I said, the book talks about enjoying life. You don't have to be married to enjoy life. Getting married is like a plus. It's a bonus. You could still enjoy life as a single person. I always say too, when you go to a restaurant, if you go by yourself, it's always a table for 2. Why not a table, just a table for you to sit by yourself? So the book talked about just enjoying life, how God created you, fearfully and wonderfully made, and you're a unique person by yourself. Even though as a married person, you're still a unique individual. So that's what the book talks about, being single and enjoying yourself. Even after you get married, you can still be single.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it was a pleasure chatting with you, Agatha.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on What's Trending, and all the best in your future endeavors.
No, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Well, it's Ash Wednesday. A look at the tradition when we continue.